Hey everybody, today I'm going to be talking about why a lot of older eMachines computers usually manufactured between 2002 and 2004 have tended to fail a lot. This here is the number one reason: the power supply goes out. This particular power supply, the one that is failure prone, is the Bestec model ATX-250-12E Rev P6 and P7. These two particular ones are known to fail. Go ahead and take a good look here at the labels. Pause if you want to see the advanced information. Alright. Go ahead and take a look inside the power supply. What causes these units to fail is something about the 5-volt standby rail. There's a big flaw in all these particular units, this particular model anyway, where something in the 5-volt standby rail will short out and cause a massive spike in voltage to hit the motherboard and cause the motherboard to fail, pretty much burning out the chipset of the board, making the board no longer usable. This one here had it so bad it actually blew the capacitor right off of the board. The capacitor is in here somewhere, just don't know where. By the way, that's a 250 watt power supply, which was adequate power for the majority of the older eMachine systems. The Bestec ATX-300 units don't have this flaw. I've used plenty of them, never had a problem out of one. This board you're looking at is another pull from a Bestec power supply. This one here has been stripped down of a lot of the components, but I left the bad capacitors on here just to show you. And what else is interesting, you can actually see a fried spot in the board where this thing has got really hot. The board is like turned to a brown crisp. And this capacitor here got so hot that it melted the plastic off of the plastic kind of goes around it, it melts it completely off. It's barely even attached to the board. It pretty much pushes away from the board. It's like barely attached to the board. I can actually pull it out right now. It is that loose. There it is. Capacitor is that loose. It basically blew this capacitor loose from the board. And this one here is very loose too. I could probably pull it out too if I wanted to. It's just amazing. You just kind of think how much voltage went through this thing to get it that hot. And it's just like the first power supply I showed you, it blew the capacitor completely off the board. I've seen two that have done that. Here you're looking at another Bestec power supply. This one here, matter of fact, is still in working condition, but you can tell that there's been already a few voltage spikes coming from the 5-volt standby rail, because these two little capacitors, mainly this bigger one that I'm pointing at, the little one behind it, these two that are coming off the transformer, they're already starting to bulge on top, meaning that there's obviously been a voltage spike. Normally when these capacitors bulge up like this, it's a sign of capacitor plague. But the only thing is, none of the other capacitors on this power supply are bulging up, which are pretty much the same brand, all the capacitors across the board. They're all in good condition, but yet these two here are bulged up, meaning that there has been more voltage than what these things are rated for passing through these capacitors, causing them to swell up. Which the motherboard that was pulled from this particular power supply is already showing signs of failure. The board worked, however, the onboard USB and the onboard audio did not work. It was fried. These have had so many failures. Pretty much if you own an eMachine that was manufactured between 2002 and 2004, it's going to fail sometime or another, unfortunately. However, the easy fix for that is just to replace your power supply. Replacing your power supply will eliminate this problem. Here you're looking at a perfectly good Bestec ATX-250-12E power supply. This one here, I pulled this unit from my mom and dad's old eMachines computer before had a chance to fry the motherboard. Which you can see, these two capacitors near the transformer here are in perfect condition. This power supply has not had any spikes on the 5-volt standby rail, but it was only a matter of time before it would have. I've seen quite a few eMachines W288 computers that were dead, which they all had the same power supply. Which overall, this is the reason why majority of eMachines computers had their failures. The ones that were manufactured between 2002 and 2004. Here you're looking at the eMachines motherboard wall of shame. All these motherboards are pulls from dead eMachine computers that I got for parts for like 20 bucks a piece. These things, the majority of them, except for these two red boards, this one and that one over there, and this motherboard right there, the rest of them boards were killed by one of them power supplies. I have to say, it's pretty sad. The 5-volt standby rail went high, the voltage went to like 10 volts or more, and fried the chipset of all them boards. Which all the boards actually are dead boards due to bad chipsets. These two red boards, the one up top, are pulled from systems that had the Bestec ATX-250 unit, but that power supply didn't cause a problem. Those boards had the flaw in the NVIDIA chipsets, which actually I think is a manufacturing flaw of the motherboard. Because both them boards, those red boards, and that board up there, I'm actually still using the Bestec ATX-300 power supplies from those same computers in other systems, and they still work today. But this should show, this is an example of how bad eMachines had problems back in the day. These three boards here are pulled from HP and compact systems, which I had another one which I threw away. So that's basically 4 compared to 4, 8, 12, like 14 different boards. Pretty sad.